Welcome to another RSR. Tonight I'm predicting the 2024 CONCACAF Champions Cup. Predizione della Copa della Campeones della CONCACAF from round 1 to the final round. 27 teams, 51 matches. And it should be a very great tournament. It starts tomorrow. We'll be covering 2 games, of course. Everything on the left side of the bracket is played over the next 2 weeks, save for Philadelphia versus Saprissa. They'll play Monterrey Comunicaciones instead with the left side of the bracket. Everything on the right will be played the next 2 weeks of February with Philadelphia Saprissa. With that being said, let's start predicting this tournament. We will start with Philadelphia Union versus Deportivo Saprissa. Philadelphia Union contra Deportivo Saprissa. USA versus Costa Rica. They played each other in the round of 16 of the 2021 CONCACAF Champions League. Was a very, very, very knockdown, drag-out tie. And I expect something very similar in this round 1 tie. I really do. Saprissa is better than they were. I think, personally, they are better than they were back in 2021 when they played each other. Same with Philly. I think Philly is just as good, if not better, than when they played each other. So, the question is, which side prevails? And I think Philly will. I think Andre Blake is just too good of a goalkeeper. It's hard to beat him. Saprissa doesn't have players where you're like, yeah, I think I would take them in a face-off versus Andre Blake. So, with that being said, Philly has players that probably should be able to win this. Philly moves on to the round of 16. Next up, Toluca FC of Mexico versus CS Herediano of Costa Rica. Toluca FC contra CS Herediano. For me, Toluca is mid right now. They should have never fired Ignacio Ambriz, but they did. Herediano, though, they've been rebuilding. They looked pretty good in Central American Cup, but I still think Toluca has enough to get the win against Herediano. Is it possible upset happens here? Yeah, I wouldn't say it's out of line. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened, but in the end, I still think Toluca should be able to do enough to win this tie. Toluca moves on to the round of 16. Next up, Club America versus Real Esteli. Club America contra Real Esteli. Club America, the best team in Mexico right now, versus Real Esteli, the runners-up who were one of the 2 underdogs of the Central American Cup. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to say Esteli has a chance. I wish, but I'm not going to do it. America wins. They don't even need to play Quiñones or Martin to win. That just shows you where they are. That just shows you where this is. America wins. They move on to the round of 16. Chivas Guadalajara of Mexico versus Forge FC of Canada. Preliminary round 4. Chivas de Guadalajara contra Forge FC. You know what? The defense of Chivas really makes me ask questions. They have a good offense right now. The defense is not solid yet. Besides, they are going to rotate a good bit in Hamilton. Forge, yes, this will be their first game. They brought back Eleman Cisse. They still have a really good team. Benny Badibanga, damn good player. Tristan Borges, looks like he'll be back on what he used to be. You know what? I'm going to go with an upset here. And I know maybe it's a little bit of bias, but I think Chivas are still able to be picked off. Forge FC goes on to the round of 16. I'm going to call it. Forge goes on to the round of 16. They do enough in Hamilton where, yeah, they put on their big boys, but Forge still holds on down at Akron and moves on. Preliminary round 5. Round 1-5. New England Revolution versus Club Atlético Independiente de la Chorrera. New England Revolution contra Club Atlético Independiente. I don't believe in the Revs. I don't. I think this will be another upset. Independiente are a team you don't want to sleep on. The Revs are still, yes, Caleb Porter's their new manager, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it for the Revs. They're still the same old team that they've been for a while. And listen to this, okay? They still have a lot of holes. Caleb Porter's first year is normally a struggle year before they win the cup the second year, and then they fall off in his third season. He gets sacked. So, third or fourth season, he gets sacked. But they never get back to the heights they were at. But my point is Independiente, I think they're going to upset the Revolution. Independiente to the round of 16. So on the left side of the bracket for the round of 16, we have CF Pachuca versus Philadelphia Union, SV Robin Hood versus Toluca FC, Club America versus Forge FC, and El Alajuelense versus Club Atletico Independiente. Now let's move to the right. We'll start with Houston Dynamo FC versus St. Louis City SC. Houston Dynamo FC contra St. Louis City SC. You know what? I think St. Louis learned their lesson in the playoffs. I think St. Louis learned they have to play the exact way they've meant to play and play in big games. And Houston, St. Louis beat LA Galaxy in their first preseason game. Houston, they did what they had to against a weaker side. St. Louis has been making some good signings. They're keeping the faith. Houston, I'm not saying they're a one-year wonder, but I think St. Louis has finally learned or will finally learn how to play into a big game. St. Louis moves on to the round of 16. Next up, Vancouver Whitecaps FC of Canada versus Tigres UANL of Mexico. Vancouver Whitecaps FC contra Tigres UANL. Vancouver, they've had a horrible offseason. I have to be honest. They've had a horrible offseason. They didn't keep Richie Larea. Their offseason has been pretty quiet, so to speak. Pretty much the same team. Some MLS veterans. Tigres are still kicking on, even though I thought they'd fall off over the past couple of tournaments. They're still kicking. And they already beat the Whitecaps in Leagues Cup. And I think Tigres are still better. Tigres moves on to the round of 16. Orlando City SC of the USA versus Calgary FC of Canada. Orlando City SC contra Calgary FC. Even though I'm not sure if they lost Duncan McGuire, they're still working that out. But even without Duncan McGuire, Luis Muriel is a good replacement. And Calgary, I like what they have. Ali Mousse is a good player. Meyer Bevan's a good player. Calgary can upset Orlando. But I just think, even though Forge does upset Chivas in my prediction, I don't see Orlando being upset by Calgary. I think Orlando gets it done and has a rematch of last year's round of 16 with Tigres, Orlando City SC on to the round of 16. Next up, CF Monterrey versus Comunicaciones FC. CF Monterrey contra Comunicaciones. Monterrey has a horseshoe up there behind during Champions Cup. And they got Brandon Vasquez, who's hot right now. So I guess he's the horseshoe. Monterrey is just better than Comunicaciones right now. And they have Brandon Vasquez. Monterrey moves on to the round of 16. FC Cincinnati of the USA versus Cavalier FC of Jamaica. FC Cincinnati contra Cavalier FC. Cincinnati may have lost the aforementioned Brandon Vasquez, but they made their defense even better. Cavalier isn't as high-powered to beat Cincinnati as some other teams. I think Cincinnati will use that as a good starting point. FC Cincinnati moves on to the round of 16. And finally, the final preliminary round tie. Nashville SC versus Mocha FC of the Dominican Republic. Nashville SC contra Mocha FC. Nashville is exactly the type of team Mocha doesn't want to play. Mocha wants to be open. They want to push the ball forward, as I could tell. Nashville are too good defensively. Just because Nashville lost to Toronto, I don't think Mocha is good enough to beat Nashville. Nashville's going to move on to the round of 16. Now, on to the round of 16. Round of 16-1. CF Pachuca of Mexico versus the Philadelphia Union. Pachuca contra Philadelphia Union. I'm going to go Philadelphia Union because Pachuca has been a joke for a good couple of months now. They had a horrible apertura. I don't think they bounced back for the Clausura. They're selling all their best players. Yes, they've sort of reloaded, but I still think Philly's better than Pachuca. Philadelphia Union to the quarterfinals. SV Robin Hood of Suriname versus Toluca FC. SV Robin Hood contra Toluca FC. I want to see Robin Hood win this tie. I really do. They were so awesome to watch during Caribbean Cup, the champions of the Caribbean Cup. But Toluca, I don't think they're that mid that Robin Hood could pick them off. I wouldn't be shocked if it did happen, but I don't think it will. Toluca is just good enough to beat them. Robin Hood's a good team, but right now I'm going to say Toluca gets it done. Toluca moves on to the quarterfinal. Club America versus Forge FC. Club America contra Forge FC, round of 16-3. I can't be biased here. I sort of was biased with the Chivas match. I can't do that here. America is the better team over Forge. Would I love to see Forge win? Yes. Will they? No. America wins. Quiñones will rip Forge apart. Simple. Still be their third and fourth games. No Canadian Premier League yet. America goes through. America is way higher than Chivas. America is hard to beat. Chivas, they can be beat. Especially now. They're still having to build together. America, no. Round of 16-4. El Diablo Valencia, Costa Rica versus Club Atlético Independiente. El Diablo Valencia contra Club Atlético Independiente. They already played each other in Central American Cup. No, it was Herediano. Now you got me looking. But again, if Esteli, that's what I was saying, yeah. If Esteli couldn't lose to Independiente, if Independiente lost to Esteli, they're going to lose to... Yeah, they're going to lose to Alajuelense, is my opinion. Yeah, they lost to Esteli. It was the other side of the bracket. Independiente was on. But again, if Esteli couldn't lose to Independiente, if Independiente still beat Esteli, yeah, I have a feeling that in the end, Alajuelense, who beat Esteli, is going to beat Independiente. Alajuelense is too good right now. My point. Round of 16-5. Columbus Crew versus St. Louis City SC. Columbus Crew contra St. Louis City. St. Louis already got beat up by Columbus in the Leagues Cup. Columbus is better now than they were in August. St. Louis might play their best 11. They will play their best 11 over two legs, but I just don't see it. Columbus is better. Columbus goes on. Tigres, UANL versus Orlando City SC. Round of 16-6. Tigres contra Orlando City. We'll have a repeat. I would hope. Orlando, you would think, would beat Tigres because of how close that tie was last year, but I don't think it'll be as close. I think Tigres are better right now. Definitely better right now. I think last year was the opportunity. I think Tigres moves on to the quarterfinal. CF Monterrey versus FC Cincinnati. CF Monterrey contra FC Cincinnati. Again, Cincinnati doesn't have Brandon Vasquez. Monterrey does, and Brandon Vasquez is hot right now. I don't care how good Cincinnati's defense has been reinforced. Bupenza ain't going to score you your goals. Acosta may. I don't see it. Monterrey moves on. Vasquez is going to beat his former team single-handedly. Besides, again, Monterrey has a horseshoe up there, Heine, during Champions Cup ties. They just do. Finally, round of 16-8, Inter Miami, CF of the USA, Leagues Cup champions versus Nashville SC. We got a Leagues Cup final rematch, and you know what? I think Miami's going to win this one. I think they're good enough to beat Nashville again over two legs. I think by the time they get their tie going, they'll have their form back to a certain extent. It should be good enough to beat Nashville. Miami on to the quarterfinals. Now, speaking of the quarterfinals, Philadelphia Union versus Toluca FC. Philadelphia Union contra Toluca FC. I think Toluca is probably the easiest Mexican club to pick off at this point. We have MLS versus Mexico, Mexico versus Costa Rica, MLS versus Mexico, MLS versus Mexico. I think Toluca is the easiest one to pick off at this point. I think the hardest one to pick off is America, but they also have the easiest opponent, I would say. Philadelphia Union is better than Toluca right now. Toluca is not good. They should have kept Ambriz, as I said. They did not. Philadelphia will be able to take advantage. Philadelphia moves on to the semifinals. Club America versus El Alajuelense. Club America contra El Alajuelense. America is just better. Alajuelense, they're a good team. Quarterfinal is really good for Alajuelense, but here's the thing. America, again, Henry Martin, Julian Quiñones, Malagon. They got a good team. They got a team that's hard to beat. Still hard to beat right now. Probably will still be hard to beat by the time the quarterfinals roll around. America's going to beat Alajuelense. I want to see Alajuelense keep it close. That's probably the best they'll do. And even then, I'm not sure. America moves on to the semifinals. Columbus Crew versus Tigres UANL. Columbus Crew contra Tigres UANL. Columbus Crew, right now, are the better team than Tigres. Again, Columbus, they want to make a point. And I think they will. Columbus Crew right now are better. Tigres, I think they could be beaten. I think they will be beaten by Columbus. I think Columbus just has the players to do it. Columbus Crew moves on to the semifinals. And finally, CF Monterrey versus Inter Miami CF. CF Monterrey contra Inter Miami CF. Miami's going down. So far in this preseason, I haven't seen anything that would tell me Miami's going to beat Monterrey or overcome Monterrey's plot armor. I just don't see it. Monterrey or Miami does not look good enough right now. They just don't. I don't know if they could pick up their level high enough to either beat Monterrey's plot armor or just be damn better, which I guess you have to be both in that case. But again, Monterrey goes to the semifinals. Miami goes down and crashes out in the quarterfinal, which with this preseason wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me if they went through, finally found their way, but I just don't see it playing out that way. Semifinals, Philadelphia Union versus Club America. Philadelphia Union contra Club America. Yeah, no, Philly, again, Philly has a lot of questions. They're probably the weaker MLS side of the two left against the better Mexican side of the two, or at least the more complete Mexican side of the two. I just don't see Philly beating America. I really don't. I don't. Things would have to go crazy for Philly to pull it off, and it would be by away goals or by one. Club America to the final. Finally, or second to last tie, Columbus Crew versus CF Monterrey. Columbus Crew contra CF Monterrey. A quarterfinal tie in 2021 here. But Wilfred Nancy's a better manager than Caleb Porter, and Columbus is better now than they were in 2021. For me, I did say Columbus would beat Monterrey last time in my full predictions, but this time I'm damn sure. This time I'll be right. Columbus Crew right now are the more complete MLS side, as I said. Monterrey, I think Columbus can beat their plot armor. I think Columbus are good enough to where it doesn't matter what Monterrey has. Columbus has more firepower, a better defense, and a better manager who doesn't choke in semifinals. I think Tano's still there. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think he's still there. Columbus Crew, no matter. Columbus does a better defense and a better offense, more firepower. Yeah, Monterrey has Brendan Vasquez, but Columbus has like 3 people who can score goals at will. Columbus Crew moves on to the final. And we get the final that we didn't expect, but the one we really deserve. Club America versus Columbus Crew in a one-off. I don't know where they'll host it. I didn't do the math of who will have the more points. Either Azteca or Lower.com field. But it's a one-off game. I don't think it really matters if Columbus are on the road or at home. Because you know what? I think in a one-off, Columbus are the better team than America. If it was a two-legged tie, I think America would win. But since it's a one-off tie, I think Columbus will do enough to win. Again, who thought they'd beat LAFC? Not me. Oh, by the way, they already beat them once in Leagues Cup, and I'd say Columbus has gotten even better since then. America, of course, They were a little bit struggling, but they were still pretty good. You still saw the vision. Columbus has gotten better since that Leagues Cup tie. And by the way, they walloped them. That's also what matters. And I think Columbus could do it again, home or away. Columbus wins the final, the one-off final of the rebranded CONCACAF Champions Cup, the first Champions Cup in a long time. Columbus will be your CONCACAF Champions of 2024 in my book. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it. With that being said, if you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification once subscribe. Send some chats on the live streams. Comment on this video. Put us in playlist. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. I shall see you tomorrow for a live watch along of both Comunicación SFC versus CF Monterrey and CS Herediano versus... No, it's not CS Herediano. No, it's América Real Esteli. My bad. Yeah, Herediano plays the day Forge plays. My bad. América Real Esteli live in RSR. Then on the Wednesday, there's nothing on Thursday. Wednesday morning, they're still playing Miami Vissel Kobe. I'll be live for it and I'll review it. Then, Wednesday evening, I'll be live for Forge versus Chivas live and review. So 2 lives and 2 reviews on Wednesday. 2 lives and 1 review on Tuesday. Thursday off. Friday off. Saturday, Super Bowl predictions. Sunday, Super Bowl review. You know what it is. There you go. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. See you later. Let's enjoy this tournament. I can't wait. Let's go.